to me rifle, the lero, and me rifle, dee. And the ending of my story was the blind man he could see. Airplane. Now, I was talking about the story. The ending of my story was, how would you like if I told a good, true-hearted story? Now, I'm not a comedian. I don't tell yarns. I only tell stories. And if anybody here heard the story before, I hope they'll keep quiet for the sake of the person who didn't. The story is the story of the two hunchbacks. You know what a hunchback is? The old days say at home a hunchback is somebody that God laid a hand on him. And other people reckoned it was all the accumulated sins of the people who came before that person that came on this fellow's back when he was born, and he had to bear with them through life. That's a little story too. However, they lived in the one village, two of them, and they both had crooked noses. You could hang your jacket up on the nose of each one of them when he turned upside down. And they were terribly frustrated because they fancied the women, but the women didn't fancy them. The booze they liked, and that fancied them. And one day, one of them went to the fair to get something, whatever it was, and when they walked the road, the hunches were so bad, the hump was so bad. If there was a big hump on the road, they had to take the nose around it so they could carry on with the journey. On the way home from the fair, he got stone blind drunk, and he was falling all over his nose, and it made him bleed and all that. And there was a huge big rock beside the road that he hadn't seen before. And he said, I'll rest my weary bones under this rock. And when he lay down on about a half a dozen mushrooms. Now, mushrooms are supposed to be fairy umbrellas. And you ever see a mushroom growing? Nobody did. They just grow overnight. But I was one night out in the meadow. I don't know what I was doing. But I heard the ground shaking, and before I knew what I was covered with mushrooms. That's true. So, anyway, he sat down, and 6 little fairies jumped from under the mushrooms, and they said in Irish, Kawasugal, where are you going? And he said, I'm sorry, little fellas, I didn't know you were there. Now, fairies sleep during the day. At night, they can come out from 12 to 5 in the morning till the cock crows. After that, they can't do you any more harm. And he lay down in a drunken stupor, and at 12 o'clock, he swore he could hear noise coming from inside the rock. And he had 2 big ears, and he put the 2 ears flat against the rock. And he heard the talking going on again, and one of the choir fellows inside said, there's a man outside now, and we want to impress him. And this is what he heard them say. They're mort, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. The days of the week are Monday, they're alone, Mort, Tuesday, Cadine, Wednesday, Jardine, Thursday, Jehina, Friday, Saturn, Saturday, Jadona, Sunday. That's what they were saying, Monday, Tuesday, Monday. And he couldn't believe himself, and he started listening again. And they said, make it good this time, the fellow outside is listening. But then, they're alone, Monday. And he said out loud, mind if I join in and do it this way? And he did. Cadine, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And there was golden silence for about 20 minutes. You could hear a pin dropping. You could hear a pin dropping, but a glass dropped. So the rock opened up, and out came 3,000 fairies with a huge giant of a man, every 2'6" of one standing in the middle. And he said, "Where is the man who gave us the line of a song we've been waiting for 15,000 years?" And they took him into the rut. That's what it was. This is now fairies hold seminars in different parts of the country every 3 months of the year, and they send out fairies to help you if you're good to them, to poison you if you're bad to them, and so on. They brought him in, and the first thing you do if you enter a fairy rut, refuse the first drink they offer you, but take everything after that. And they did offer him a drink, and he refused, and they said, "Can we do anything for you?" And he had no need to hesitate. He said, "Take this thing off my back." And 500 fairies came up, lifted the hunch, put it down in the corner of the room, and they put a big sack over it. And next morning he walked home straight as a die, and who do you think the first man he met? The other hunchback. And he said, "What in the devil happened to you?" He said, "Yesterday you were as sumpy as me, and today what happened?" And he told him the story. Now the second hunchback thought he was smarter than the first fellow. And he said to himself, "If this idiot could get the hunch taken off his back, I'll have no problem." And off he goes in the middle of the day to the fairy rut. And he lay down on about a dozen mushrooms, and a dozen little fairies jumped up sleepy, and they started cursing him, and he cursed them back. That's the first mistake he made. And he was waiting there till 12 at night. He knew what he was doing. And fair enough, they started singing the song, and they said, "Now there's another man outside tonight, and do it better than you did last night." And they started off, "Jalunja morte, lunja morte, lunja morte, Keedeen, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday." And he said out loud, "I can do better than that." And he started out, "Jalunja morte, Keedeen, Jardeen, Jahini, Jasarnya, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no air, no tune, nothing." And there was deadly silence for half an hour. And the rain came pelting down, the sky darkened, and the rock split open, out and brimstone and fire came out of the rock. 5,000 fairies mad as hell. "Where is the devil who ruined our beautiful song?" And they saw the choir fell under the mushrooms. They pulled them in leg first. And there was an old fairy on the side of the wall in a big chair. And he was the leader of the gang, and they said, "Dad Joe, Granddad, what'll we do with the man who destroyed our song?" Well, this fella must be at least 5,000 years old. And he looked down at the hunch they'd taken out the first fellow. "Well, my judgment is they'll put the hunch he took out the fellow last night," he said, "on top of the hunch he has on, and let him home, and that's good enough for him." They did. Now the nose was about 6 inches down on the ground. And he tried to go forward, and he couldn't. So he started backing his way home, and the nose was digging a trench in the road. And somebody saw him and said it was a beautiful way to till up the soil, and that's how the first plough was ever invented. That's a true story. That is a true story, and if anybody here heard me telling a story before they want to hear again, I'll tell it. But now I'll give you an example of a couple of Irish songs, Irish airs, and one of the best known Irish airs is "Where Are You at the Rock?" and "Ruttu Edingari." Now the rock mentioned in that is the rock and the mountainside that the priest, the clergy said Mass on during the penal days. And with soldiers or redcoats watching all the time, people going to Mass and from Mass, ask themselves this question, "An Ruttu Edingari, no waka to Hain Moro. Were you at the rock, or did you see my true love?" Now, anybody listening to that would think they were talking about a courting couple or something. So they passed no remarks. "An Ruttu Edingari, the waka to Hain Moro. Were you at the rock, or did you see my true love? A waka to gille finne agus came them wrong." Did you see the beautiful face of the lady? And it's the statue of the Blessed Virgin they were referring to there. A wakatu and tool by Jesha is Baglasha law. And tool meant the chalice that the priest held. No wakatum a Valentine, which was the name given to the faith. No Wilchiga Clee Martajero, are she persecuted as she was. Now in this song, there are only 2 verses. I hope if you see a book where you are Carrick, you won't be put out. That is not the song. That means Carrick and Shure you're talking about there. This is the rock. And there's only a question and answer. We may engari es chonik mehen dogro. I was at the rock and I saw your true love. Chonik me gille finye agashkem namna. I saw the beautiful face of the lady. Chonik me and tool by Jesha is baglash bra. I saw the apple with the beautiful blossom. Es chonik me the Valentine. Es tashi gakli martajero. I saw your Valentine, and she is persecuted as you said. This is the song. Ratu Garig no wakatu hen mora no wakatu gilfini agashkem namra no wakatu antul boy jeshi spaglashi blah no wakatu ma Valentine no will she gakli martanjara avi me edengari is khanik mendara is khanik me gilfini agashkem namra agus khanik mentul boy jashu spaglash blah is khanik me de Valentine is tashi gakli martanjara. This ne are not doing gari.